Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining us here in the Men's Movement, and thanks for joining us on the 10 things I've learned whilst training thousands of clients. I've trained multiple people over 4 decades, and I've also taught kids at schools and been involved in lots of different communities. And today, I'd like to share number 7 of 10 things I've learned whilst training thousands of clients. And today, number 7 is really interesting. What you're not going to learn, or not what you're going to learn today, is not what you think you're going to learn, because it's not so much a physical thing, yet later on you'll find out why it is a physical thing. But you're going to learn about bananas, you're going to learn about smiling, you're going to learn about guitars, graphs, music, all sorts of things. And I'll quickly get to the things we're going to learn about right here. Here it is. All the things here we're going to learn about. And the biggest thing is what happened up here above me. This thing here, because I've trained so many people, and what I've discovered over multiple years of training these people are under a lot of stress, they're under a lot of pressure, but what they won't admit is how they're feeling emotionally detached. They're in silent despair. I have guys who come and see me every week, and they are living in silent despair. They're no longer got workmates to work with because they're the bosses, or they aren't the bosses, they're the workers, and they feel so alone. They're in what I call silent despair, which has been quoted to me from a psychologist I visited many years ago. And it's not just them. Everyone thinks it's that person over there is in silent despair, or that person over there is feeling a bit pressured or a bit anxious, or maybe even depressed right now. We're not talking about that person over there, because if we look at these letters, and I often use the letters, we all think it's someone else. And what I've found, because they say now, statistically, 1 in 5 people are experiencing at any one time depression, anxiety, or pressure. So let's get rid of that I, and let's put this in here. 1 in 5. This is what I like to use. 1 in 5 at any one time are experiencing depression, anxiety, or pressure. At any one time, 1 in 5. So I want to hone into that, because 1 in 5 is a really powerful thing. Because sadly, if 1 in 5 are experiencing that, right, that could be the person behind you, the person in front of you, the person to the left or right of you, either at the gym, at work, on the train going home. One of you are right now experiencing that. So that's a really powerful thing, because we say it as if it's just a throwaway line. And so I want to share today with you how we can de-empower that, or empower that, to make it more powerful for everyone. Because if 1 in 5 are experiencing that, which we say, it's a statistic we just throw out there, 1 in 5, 1 in 5, in Australia right now, 1 in 5. At Harvard Uni, it's actually 1 in 2. Over 50% of the students at Harvard Uni are experiencing depression. So it's a throwaway line. We use these stats, throw them away. I used to be a maths teacher, and we use these numbers all the time. But what's really happening with that number? Because if 1 in 5 are experiencing that, can anyone see another number in that? There's a 1 in 5 experiencing that. Let's get rid of that. And it's incidentally, notice how that letter there is create the word you, because we're putting you into this equation. So if 1 in 5 are experiencing that, let's have a look at the other number in 5. And there it is. The Roman numeral 4. And that's the empowering bit. Because if the stats are 1 in 5 are experiencing it, as an ex-maths teacher, we know that the other part of the equation is 4. So if 1 in 5 are experiencing depression, anxiety, pressure right now, what are the other 4 doing? It's like that's the secret. What are the other 4 doing? Are they part of the solution or part of the problem? Are they going to help you, or are they going to create the problem or exaggerate the problem for you? And yes, it could be yours. It's not someone else's, because what other people do is not how you react to them is your issue. And not blaming here, but can they help? Where can they help? Because I have clients come in and they're experiencing it. So how can I be part of the solution, of the four? How can we make this the superpower of all the human beings? How can we, if we were to wear that as a badge of honor, how can the four be the superpower in this and empower the others? And that's where I'd like to share with you what I share with the kids at school. Because this pressure thing, if you look down here at the graph here, we need pressure to perform. If there's no pressure, we have no performance. If this is performance and this is pressure, we have no performance. But we get some pressure. We got a job deadline tomorrow, or exams happening, or you're going for that new job interview, or you got some work happening. We get pressure and we get performance. Once we got pressure, the performance increases. But if we get too much pressure, we have that job interview, we've got that overdue thing we have to do, and then maybe we've got a party on the weekend. We get too much pressure. This is pressure here, and performance tends to go down. So there's an optimal amount of pressure you need for performance, and also a level you need before you can perform, and a level you can't perform at. And that's what happens to people when they get too much pressure. They feel anxious, they feel burdened, they feel depressed, they get too much pressure. But you do need a certain amount of pressure to perform, so there's nothing wrong with being pressured. There's nothing wrong with having deadlines. It happens to all of us. The grand final, we take it back to the footy or to cricket or the sport, we need pressure to perform. If there's no pressure, well, why bother going out there and training with intensity? So that's not unusual. That's a human trait. So you're being, if you like, normal there. But what happens if we go back to this one? I told you later I'm going to share with some music ideas with you. I just nearly dropped the text, sorry. If we go back to this here and look at down this part of the graph, if people don't know musical notes here, here's a bit of music here. That's a half note or a quarter note. But here is so many notes in that. And why I've put that there, because someone once said to me the best way to describe depression, and I thought it was really clever. If you imagine your favourite song, imagine in your head your most favourite song. You love this song. It's a great song. You got that in your ear. Now imagine your second favourite song, right? Play it at the same time. Maybe a third favourite song. You like doing these things. You like going to work. You like going to basketball training. You like going to the gym. You like helping out the family on the weekends. You like all these things individually, but imagine that song and that song and that song and play it all the time. It gets messed up, and this becomes, it becomes a noisy environment. And that's how someone described to me experiencing depression's like. It's relentless. It gets noisy and it gets overbearing, and you can't cope. So, is there a way we can deal with this better? And I'll come back to that later, because you'll be surprised by the solution. And it's not my solution, but what I've experienced in multiple years of training people over 4 decades is this solution works. And there's lots of ways to do this. So I'd like to come back to that solution in a second. But first I want to talk about this banana. What's a banana got to do with a guy who's trained multiple decades of clients? And why am I using this banana? Because I use this when I talk to kids at school, right? Now, we know how to peel a banana. Most people peel a banana like this, don't they? Right? Now, scientific study after scientific study has proven that that's a handle, and it's easier to peel the banana like that. Apes will peel a banana like that. It's much easier than the effort that's needed to peel the banana like that. But the studies have also shown that once you know that, and you've been told that, you know what our smart human beings do, the human race does? We turn it back that way and keep doing it the same way we've always done. We keep doing it the same way. Now, there's a great quote that says, to know and not to do is not to know. Now, you know that, right? You know that right now. To know and not to do is not to know. So, what has that got to do with what we're talking about here? Now, I'll quickly cut over here, because I'll come back to that in a second. We're talking about people in this bandwidth here who experience a bit of pressure, a bit of anxiety, a bit of depression at work. We're talking about this. We're not talking about the people down here, off the scale here, who sadly need all sorts of therapy. We're not dealing with these people. In no way am I saying to these people, hey, just get to put a Nike shirt on and do some exercise and you'll feel better. So remind yourself or be aware of this as we're talking through this. Right? So let's come back to this. What's the banana got to do with all this? Well, we keep sort of treating people who experience depression with the same way. We take them to talk therapists. We do talk therapy with them. We take them through their history. We get them to groups. We lower the workload for them. We lower the stress for them. We help them out. Is there another way? Is there another way? Now, scientists have caught up with this and said, yes, there is another way. There is another way. That's the way we do it. There is another way. So are we going to ignore this other way? All right, so let's come back to here. So is there another way that we can empower these people, 1 in 5 experiencing this? Is there a way we can empower them and get the 4 to help? And what they've discovered is they need 1,000 studies to disprove what they now know. Right? We need 1,000 studies to have a negative effect of what we now know that helps people who experience depression. So we've discovered it. We've discovered it, yet are we all doing it? Are we all out there doing it? We've got a solution to something with people who experience depression. We've got a solution for these people in this bandwidth. We're not talking here. Okay? So, say on the same page, we are on the same A board or in the same TV. If we know this, it's going to take 1,000 studies. We know this. To know and not to do is not to know. And you know what that is? I'll tell you. It is using movement as medicine. It's using movement as medicine. If we exercise and move and get activity into your lives, you feel better. And I know this anecdotally from clients I've trained over 4 decades, from students I've taught when I was a teacher at schools. If you get people moving who are feeling down, I've had people come in and they feel crap. So that's what I meant before about they come in and feel crap. We're not talking about the people who can't leave their bed, who can't even leave their house. So that if you like, these people are living in silent despair. They're depressed, they're anxious, they're pressurized, but they go in and out of it. Okay, so we're not, in no way are we talking about this. But I get people who come into the gym and they feel crap. They feel crap, they're stressed, they're anxious, there's so much pressure, they're living in silent despair. And every one of them, anecdotally, after doing some movement, feels better. After doing a bit of activity, feels better. So there was a great study done at Harvard, and it said, in no way are we saying exercise is a replacement for an antidepressant. In no way are we saying exercise is a replacement for an antidepressant. But by not moving, it's like taking a depressant. By not having some activity in your life is like taking a depressant. So by moving, the simple form of moving, I had a lady this morning who came into the gym and this exact thing happened. She didn't want to be there. She felt like crap. She was having a bad day. She felt awful. And within 10 minutes of doing some movement, she said, I feel so much better now. So this has been proven by over they need 1,000 studies to have that movement and activity has a negative effect on people's emotional state, to disprove that exercise, activity, moving is good for you. Movement is medicine. It's a powerful medicine. So I told you today, it's not what you think this is going to be about. I am giving 10 tips that I've learned over training 1,000 clients about being healthier, stronger, fitter, changing your body shape. But that's all, it's all good. It's great to do that. It's fantastic to have those goals of weight loss and stuff. But if you haven't got the emotional health, if you haven't got the mental health, it's pointless. So the thing I wanted to touch on today is that we all experience this. 1 in 5 have experienced it at any time. At any time, 1 in 5 of us will experience pressure, anxiety, depression. Okay? It's such a big stat. So the other 4 can help. Because you might be the one tomorrow, and the next day you might be one. When I go to talk to companies about this, I say 1 of you, 5 of you right now, beside you, in front of you, behind you. But if we shuffle you all around and come back after lunch and do the same talk again, it's another group. It's not always the same one. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So I've got here this smiley face. I've got all these things down here for a reason. This smiley face. Now, Victor Borg, the great pianist comedian, said the shortest distance between two people is a smile. The shortest distance between two people is a smile. And the great thing about smiling at someone, if you walk to someone and walk towards someone and you smile at them, you get energy from that smile. If you walk up to someone and you smile at them, they get energy off you. Let's say it's 1 unit of energy, but you get about 10 units of energy by giving that smile and maybe receiving that smile back. So you actually get, it's a bit selfish, you get the smile and you get the energy back in tenfold. They get energized as well from being smiled at, but you get more energy. But what do we do when we walk down the corridor at work? We look, there's my dog there. We look down at this stupid device that was given to us and now controls us. Remember, the brain is a fantastic master, but a shocking slave. If you don't control it, it will control you. And this thing here is definitely starting to control you. Sorry, but the beep beeps just came in just then. So this phone is starting to control people because we're walking along the street and we're walking down and we're looking. Imagine if I gave this talk, this whole 15, 20-minute talk right now, being like this. How do you feel about that? Seeing the top of the heads. I have young trainers come and work for me and I get them to, they have to start asking questions. Sorry about those noises in the background. I should have turned the notifications off. So apologies again. Sorry about that. It's live. So I've got a button here, okay, go live, and we are going live here. I get the trainers to say, you ask the questions to the new clients about age and name and all that sort of stuff. And I say, do not ask the questions like this and fill it out. Engage in people face to face because you get nothing from someone who does that. So sadly, there's kids walking up and down the school corridors and outside and they finish school. You watch it. Go stand outside the school or go past the school and you'll see kids down like this. So how are they getting the smiles to each other? How are they getting the energy to each other? If you're already feeling depressed, how are you feeling? You want to talk to someone over there and they've got their head down. What about at work? What happens? I've been told, because I don't do corporate, I go to corporations and do talks. I have a lot of clients who come in and I work with about this, but I've been told they pick up the phone and straight away, as soon as the meeting's over, they pick up their phone and go straight back. You want to have a talk to someone about what happened in the meeting, maybe what happened in the weekend, how they're feeling. You don't even get a chance to smile at them or look at them because they've grabbed their phone straight down to their phone. So this device is fantastic. You're probably watching this video on this device, and it's a great thing. But it's the brain is a fantastic master, but an awful slave. You have to control it, just like that tool. That is a fantastic device. I could have created this whole video on that. There are people out there on YouTube land who create videos using this device and get it out there and people watch it on this device. So this is great. What an awesome piece of technology. Thank you for developing this. But sadly, it's starting to control us rather than we control it. It's a bit like AI. AI is coming in. Everyone's starting to rant about AI, how it's the evil. No, it's not. Get into HAI, human artificial intelligence, where you are the conductor of the AI. You control the AI, and it does some great stuff. Check out some Jack Jr. videos I've made. So this is really powerful stuff because I've trained people for over 4 decades, and that's what I've noticed. This phone's coming into people's lives. They're not smiling at each other anymore. You've got to get back to it. So I've got this guitar here. What's this guitar got to do with anything? Because a guitar is a fantastic piece of instrument. And it's got tension and release. If I was to grab that guitar behind me right here, we can give you tension and release. And I'll quickly see if I can demonstrate this. I can't grab that. Oh, we're going to break the whole studio just trying to pull that guitar down. I'm not sure if you can hear that. I'll play it as close as I can. But you get tension and release, and that's what music's about. Jazz notes, blues notes, they give you tension. But if I gave you that, you wait for the release. So in songs, if we hang it out there, We want the release. And that's what happens at work. We get tension, we get work, we get pressure, but we need release. We need the weekends, we need the parties, we need the smiles. We need the daily, we need the daily moment smiles. Please put the phones down, guys. Be there for each other. Be part of the community. Go to a gym. Do the homework. Share this video with your friends. 1 in 5. Be the superpower. Be the 4. And share it with a friend you think needs it. Share it with a friend you think doesn't need it. It's because there's power in this, guys. There's power in the 1 in 5 because it's a hidden superpower. There's the superpower. If, Superman used to wear this S on his, thing here. What's it called? Chest. There you go. Chest. He used to wear that S on the chest, but the 4 is the power. 4 in 5. So don't just read those stats. You got the newspapers and you read, oh, look, 1 in 5 people are now experiencing depression in our society. Yes, that's a sad fact. But what are we going to do about it? Are we going to keep eating our banana like this? Turn it around, guys. Change the future. You got the power here. You've got the power here, right here. You can be part of the solution. Okay? Start smiling at each other. You're always going to be experiencing pressure. It's always going to happen. No matter what happens in your life, it will happen. You, right there, you have the power to make this better. You're going to experience pressure. That happens. Okay? Be the superpower. Play guitar. Enjoy the music. Get the tension and release in life. It's okay to have tension and release. But we don't want too much music. We want to get the smiles happening. So thanks so much for joining on this really crazy, different sort of video. I went for a long time today, but this is really important. And apologize if it dragged on for a lot. But please do the homework. Become the superpower and share this with others. Share it. Do the homework, guys, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Men's Movement. We hope you enjoyed number 7, and we look forward to sharing number 8 with you very soon. Take care. Cheers.
You've been listening to the Men's Movement. Look forward to seeing less of you next time.